Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again, and for the 200th time to Vicious Rants. And of course, I am your host, your YouTube Messiah, often imitated, never duplicated, Superstar Tim Vicious. And yes, this is episode 200. So now I do want to apologize. There was no episode last week that was supposed to be episode 200, but due to a drunken raged monkey and an ocelot peeing on electrical equipment, which, believe me, one, sending a monkey to rehab is a lot harder than it sounds, and two, trying to tranquilize an enraged ocelot is way more harder than it sounds. Those difficulties aside, on behalf of all of us here at the Vicious Studios, your beloved crazy host, the camera guy who I constantly have to belittle just to make him do his job, my executive producer Ali, my other producers Ed, Wade, all the boys, from all of us to you, thank you for taking the time to listen to a madman sit here, bitch, whine, moan, complain, rant, ramble, shoot random ideas, and tell about 100 different kind of jokes that all wind up revolving around either sex or something else that's completely inappropriate. Mostly sex, though. Anyways, thank you, everyone. Now that I'm done with the ass kissing, let's get back on the matters at hand. Last week's episode was supposed to go over TLC. Long story short, not covering reviews. That show, good solid 7. All the effort was there, everything was good. Absolutely loved it. It just, and it felt like everyone delivered. It's just, it wasn't like, oh my god, 5-star quality. Not insulting, but just saying. Now, with that in mind, enough with the past. Let's talk about the present, which is this week's Monday Night Raw, Go Home Raw to Roadblock, which is coming up this Sunday. And we got Raw in my beloved hometown of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, where your brother will give you a black eye. True story. And it starts off right off bat. No promos, no opening segments, no nothing. New Day, just New Day walking on down, cutting a promo, talking about on how they got that at the end of tonight they are going to set the record or tie the record with Demolition, and then tomorrow will beat Demolition's record of being the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history altogether, which in and of itself is impressive because here's my philosophy about long title reigns. One, winning the title means that the company has trust in you, seeing you as a marquee guy, because you win a title, you're going to be on TV. You're on TV, you got to deliver. Two, how long of a reign you have on that title, they see you as, okay, well, he's a good solid guy. We can keep this on him, We can keep this on him. He can put on quality matches. That's my philosophy about with titles and title reigns on that. And, a lot of people have been shitting on the idea of New Day being a tag team champs for a while, saying that, they're boring, they really haven't gone up against anyone. But here's the thing. Every time that they've had to go and deliver, they have. Now, I'm not saying that every time that they did, it was like, oh my god, this should be Meltzer's Tag Team Match of the Year. No, far from it. All I'm saying is, they got told, hey, I want you boys to go out there, put on a show, and make them people impressed. And they did. Now, not gonna lie, the last 2 weeks on Raw, it's been like, but other than that, that's my argument. Now, New Day, they're talking about on how they're gonna celebrate. They already got everything in the back. They got the bootios, champagne, all that jazz. And, You know, and then then come out the Good Brothers, throw them up for the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, Karl Anderson, Too Sweet Me Bang. And then of course, Sheamus and Cesaro, who, you know, have looked like they're starting to buddy up more now, you know. Little disgruntling here and there, not as bad, you know. Kind of more so like brotherly kind of feud, like, Mama likes you Mama likes me better. Yeah, huh, kind of thing. You know? As opposed to like on how they were, like, you really think I can work with this asshole? Kind of thing. Now, either way, Sheamus and Cesaro, they started out real strong with working Kofi. Kofi, he was in for a majority of the match for the New Day. You know, just more so for in general, he was like he was the punching bag in the match. But man, when he got his shots in, he gave good, you know. And I will give that. Now, the one part I was impressed with was when Kofi, you know, early on in the match, just quickly, middle of a tie-up with Cesaro, tries to roll down, and block Cesaro in a roll-up, and you could see Cesaro just holding, like, and then deadlifts him up, and then hoists his legs up for a suplex, you know, gets his bearings, and then wham, drops him. I swear, Cesaro, hands down, the most underutilized talent that WWE has. The man can talk. The man is like a freaking... The man's got a body that would make a fucking Greek god jealous. You know, the man has ring skills for days. He can work a mic. For whatever reason, it's just boggles the mind when you sit there and try and think about why he's not being used for like main eventing WrestleMania or something, you know? It's like trying to figure out the anti-life equation, you know? Either way, this, like I said, it was good solid action. The Good Brothers, they were holding out strong with in there with it, you know? Definitely like there was a good amount of near falls in it. Now, normally with big money matches like this, you'll see a lot of near falls, you know, and a lot of times you'll see them overdo it, which takes away from it. This one didn't really feel it. It was more like everyone's trying to get that one, everyone's just putting out that one extra punch, that one extra pin to try and get that win. And that's on what that felt like. Now, match wound up coming to an end when Sheamus and Cesaro, they hit a finisher. What it looked like, Cesaro, he wound up picking up Karl Anderson. Sheamus, boom, brogue kick. And I don't mean like pick up like he just grabbed him by the head and hoisted him up like that. No, grabbed him by the legs and then whoop, hoisted him up like that. And then Sheamus brogue kicked him. And just as he did that, Kofi, right out of nowhere, wham, hit Trouble in Paradise on Sheamus. And Big E wound up going and holding on to Cesaro, so that way he couldn't break the pin. They got the win. Next thing you know, they get in the back. They're in the locker room. Pretty sure I saw Deonna Purrazzo in there also. In the locker room, part of the celebration. Steph goes to give a toast, celebrating New Day's new record, new title record. And New Day, they get the champagne bottles. Yeah! Boop! Hosing. Next thing you know, Steph gets soaked and she storms off pissed. Which leads to New Day having to defend the titles later on in the night against Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, as well as another team which will get brought up at the end of the show. Now, next matchup after this, it was Braun Strowman versus Curtis Axel. And, well, do I really need to go any farther on saying on how this went? You know, this is pretty much like the piss break of the night, you know. So, on that note, R.I.P. Curtis Axel. It was nice knowing you, and I hope you kissed your wife goodbye before you decided to go and agree to wrestling that man. Yeah. Next matchup after that, we got Cruiserweight action. Ariya Daivari going up against Lince Dorado. Nice to actually see Dorado in there. Personally, I'd like to see Grand Metalik on Raw. You know, but beggars can't be choosers. Either way, though, big thing on why I'm happy with Lince Dorado is, you know, as much as I like Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, you know, all the other cats, you know, you got to throw out some of the other guys there too. You know, man cannot live on bread alone. But with this, it was nice because they had a nice pace going for a bit, and then next thing you know, just as the Daivari was starting to pick it up and looked like he was starting to take control, next thing you know, boom, Jack Gallagher's music comes out. Proper gentleman, chest puffed back, one hand behind back, one hand holding the mic, and addresses Daivari, telling him that he is going to inform him of what he plans on doing. He plans on coming down to the ring and interfering in his match, as a proper gentleman would. And then he comes down and starts proceeding to beating the snot out of him. Definitely liking the fact that, you know, Jack Gallagher right off bat automatically starts getting a good run. And not only that, with his gentleman gimmick, he can work that either way. Psychology on that is beautiful because you can work it being a proper gentleman, like such as that for a babyface, and then when you're a gentleman, he even said in his promo, as long as his opponents play fair, he'll play fair. That's where you get you, because there ain't nothing saying that he can't do something like go to a referee and say, how much time's left in the match? Referee turns his back, boom, shot right to the ding ding. Things like that, you know. You know, say, well, the referee never saw it, so can't say that it wasn't called, and it's not proper then. Things like that. You know, either way, that's on how that went. Now, next up after that, we got another Cruiserweight match. It was TJ Perkins going up against the Brian Kendrick, the only one of two men to hold WWE Cruiserweight Championship and the WWE World Champion, the WWE Championship. The other one, of course, is Rey Mysterio. And either way, it had a good feel, but it was kind of like this, watching the same match that these guys have put on before. And I'm not knocking, saying that, you know, we've seen, you know, these guys do it 9 bazillion times, you know. It's just, you know, okay, well, Cruiserweight's just started, and well, we've kind of seen Perkins and Kendrick, you know, pay-per-view, Raw, you know, all that, you know. It's just like, you know, they're kind of doing the same dance, you know, change a few of the moves up some, you know, but definitely was liking on how more aggressive Kendrick was, because of the fact of, you know, now that Rich Swann is the Cruiserweight Champion, he's now going to be more angry and more hungry, being the hunter as opposed to being the hunted. And, you know, definitely, like I said, Kendrick, he was just really, you know, didn't throw a lot. It didn't look like he was hitting harder, or it just, facial expressions and body language, it just looked like he was more aggressive. And that being said, though, match wound up coming to an end with Kendrick after he hit sliced bread. He hit one earlier. This was the second one after that, 1, 2, 3. So suffice to say, Kendrick's got sliced bread for his go-to pin finish, and then he still got the bully choke. So, you know, next up we got women's action. It is Bayley going up against Alicia Fox, and the story behind this was Alicia wound up tearing up one of Bayley's little Bayley bears because she thought, because Alicia thought Bayley was trying to eye up Cedric Alexander, who she's kind of got a thing for, and so she said she was going to go and lay a whooping on her in the ring. You know, it had a nice good back and forth to start with. Emphasis on just in the start, okay? So don't go taking it too far here, kids. I know y'all are going to want to go and put a whole bunch of hate shit down below in the comments. I got no problem with that. In fact, I always encourage it. Good, bad, or indifferent comments, I always listen and I always read. You know, always be open to criticism, good, bad, or otherwise. That being said, though, with this, you know, like I said, just in the beginnings, it was like in the feeling out. Like they were doing feeling out, and yes, feeling out, not up. So get your mind out of the gutter. You know, and yeah, eventually Foxy wound up taking control for a bit, you know, and match wound up coming to an end when, while Foxy was in control, she went to go, she picked Bayley up, she spun her around, Bayley just right out of nowhere, like, huh? Boom, hit her with the Bayley to belly, and then got the 1, 2, 3, and to all people that want to bitch about Bayley's finisher being a belly-to-belly suplex, honestly, I just want to ask you on one thing. What's the difference between when she does it as opposed to if somebody like when the franchise Shane Douglas back in his prime did it when he was in ECW? You know, anything that you have marked as a finishing move should be considered dangerous if you specifically do it. If somebody else goes and mimics your move, then just have it be like, okay, yeah, they did it, but they can't hit it as effective as me. You know, that's the thing. Because I know a lot of people have been I've seen a lot of shit going off on the Twitter at Tim Vicious lately saying that, you know, like seeing stuff pop up on the timeline saying on how they don't understand why, you know, Charlotte can get a modified figure 4, Sasha has a crossface, you know, all that jazz, but Bayley just has a simple belly-to-belly suplex. Either way, though, that's on that match. Next up, we got Sami Zayn going against Jinder Mahal. Now, there is story on this match because after Braun Strowman's match, he cut a promo saying he wants Sami. Sami wouldn't last 2 minutes. 2 minutes with him. After that, Zayn comes over to Foley, storming mad, not screaming, but just storming mad, saying, "Do you hear that? You hear that? He said that about me. He said I couldn't last 2 minutes. I want him." Foley says, no, I'm not giving that. You know, Mick, I looked up to you my whole life. If you can't see it in me, maybe I shouldn't be here. And then Foley says, you know, if that's on how you feel, I'll go make a call and see, we'll get you traded over to SmackDown. So Zayn, he's going into this match, you know, this possibly being Sami Zayn's match, but this was really more so, it felt more like a throwaway match, like it was just something to like gnaw and chew the clock for a minute. I did like the fact that, you know, it did add the idea of, well, is this going to be Sami's last match on Raw? You know? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? Either way, though, match came to an end with Sami hitting the exploder and then the hell of a kick. And then right after that, Foley comes down and says, I talked to Daniel Bryan and he did agree to doing a trade. Sami Zayn for somebody from SmackDown somebody of equal value. Now, is this what you want, Sami? And then he again said, what I want is Braun Strowman. Well, I'm not giving you that. So, if this is what you want, thank you. Now, do you want to know who it was we traded you for? Drum roll, please. No, it was not me before you ask. I'm not stepping in the ring, especially against Braun Strowman. It was Eva Marie, who, gotta say, may not like her, but damn if she ain't a good heat magnet. You know? Either way, Zayn goes nuts. I'm worth at least 100 Eva Marie's. You can't give that to me. You don't say it to me. And, you know, starts going off, and then Foley just looks at him. Tell me that you can beat him. Tell me you can beat him. I can beat him. You can beat him. Yeah, you can last 2 minutes. Yeah. Good. because I'm not going to give you 2 minutes. You got 10 minutes. Roadblock, Sunday. I want you to remember that feeling you got right now, that anger. I want you to hold it for Sunday, because you're going to have a match with Braun then. There was never a call to Ding O'Brien. There was never a contract. Nothing. It was all just to get you fired up. Which, okay, you know, that's cool. Do something like that to fire someone up. You know, I've had folks light a fire under my ass like that on more than one occasion. I've had to do that with one or two of my nephews on some occasions to help get them moving, to make them push harder. You know, do whatever you can to get somebody up and moving, to work harder. That's what you do. You know, whether it's coddle them, belittle them, tell them, yo, you need to do this. You go out there and you kick ass. You know, that's it. Now, on to the main event of the night. And before I do, let me just say, honestly, there was really no match of the night. I can't really funnel down which one I felt was the greatest match of the night, you know. Not saying that they were all bad or they were all good, it's just, you know, it was like, you know, they all just kind of like, felt like they went like, and then just kind of, all the matches just kind of like stayed at like the same tier, you know, the whole night. You know, aside from Braun's, obviously, but either way, it's New Day versus Jericho versus Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and the story behind that is midway through the show, Rollins was doing his interview special, the Rollins Report, with Kevin Owens, you know, besmirching the good name of Jericho, where Owens comes out, informs us all on how they have a match against New Day, and then Jericho comes out, and they start to proceed in beating the shit out of Rollins, and then Reigns comes out, starts beating the shit out of them. Excuse me. And then they start beating the shit out of him. And then Foley sees Rollins and Reigns in the back and then says, you know what? I'm going to put you two in the match. So it's going to be a triple threat tag match again tonight. Now, that being said, this with New Day, instead of it being Kofi and Big E, it was Big E and Woods, and more than likely on that it was because Kofi was just whooped. I don't blame him. Either way, Rollins and Woods, they had a real nice good start to the match, you know. Started out great, a lot of good chain movement back and forth with each other, you know. There was a lot of good solid action, all sorts going around. You know, definitely, you know, they obviously, you know, a whole lot of guys in the match, so of course they had the infamous Tower of Doom spot, you know, but, you know, that's always the case when you get a big tag match going on like this, you know. Excuse me. You know, yeah, Rollins, he pretty much cleared house and took out everyone, was like clearing house with suicide dives back and forth like that non-stop, you know. Now, match, but this, I will say this was better than the triple threat match that started the show. Now, match wound up coming to an end with Jericho. They were fighting, and because they wound up hitting a finish, and Owens, he had a pop-up, he hoisted Woods up for a pop-up, and Jericho, wham, hit a code breaker. Jericho went for the pin, Rollins went to go break it up. Owens was playing defense, and Rollins slammed Owens into Jericho to break the pin up, which led to them two fighting, and then next thing you know, Rollins, he comes over, pedigrees Jericho, and pedigrees Jericho, you know, goes out the ring, talking fast than I'm thinking. Owens is being held down so that way he can't get in. Woods just, while he's knocked out, drapes his arm over, gets the 1, 2, 3. They have to pick up Woods that take him out and that are back because of the fact that he's that beat, you know, and wins. So they officially won. Demolition, take note, never file a lawsuit against WWE unless you want to get wiped away from the record books again. That being said, that is it for this week's show, folks. So, again, for the 200th time, thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure y'all share this with your friends out there, too. Make sure you also look for me on my Twitter at TimVicious. Make sure you also look for my other account, Tim_Vicious. I'm also out there on that Facebook gimmick under the name Tim Ash. And do not forget to follow all of these cool-ass cats right here on the Twitter. Axel Mulligan, Sunday Sideways, Simply Sabrina, Cranky Asshole, Aaron _Deborah, my executive producer, Oliver Ben, who provided the music for this week's show. It's out there on iTunes, Spotify, Xbox Gold, and such. Details on that are in the description, as well as my client, Bronx Bitch Forever. And, folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck this.